A very good day to our lecturer, Dr. Noor Ain. Our group consists of 5 members who are T. Yu Heng, Chong Yip Ming, Haris Asa, Gerald and me, Adam. We will present to you about the collapse of an American-based commercial bank, Pacific Western Bank. Pacific Western Bank is a commercial bank that was established in the year 1982 in the state of California. What started as a humble and small community bank in California soon grown exponentially through the years through mergers and acquisitions. In 2022, the bank reported in their annual report that they have in possession of a total of over $41 billion in assets, with their net earnings that was available to common stockholders of $122.2 million. The bank itself offers a broad range of services, including the standard and expected service of a commercial bank products from lending, opening a comprehensive deposit account, to getting treasury management services. This broad range of offers and services are prone to be used by small and medium-sized businesses that are based around their executive office, which is at Denver, California. Their leadership team, or in other words, their core executive management team, consists of 12 individuals who are running this whole complex machine. Their CEO of the year 2023 is Paul Taylor, previously a position held by Matthew P. Wagon. Pacific Western Bank is one of the many financial institutions who are trying to focus or push on an ideology of producing a relationship-based business banking to the small and middle market, as it is one of their business models. A financial snapshot of Pacific Western Bank in the months before May, right before their collapse, would show that there has been an increase of core customer deposits since March 31st, 2023. To further explain the timeline, the increase of core customer deposits happens after the Silicon Valley Bank collapsed due to the capital flight of the country. The aggressive hike of interest rates over the past year led to the collapse of Pacific Western Bank in the month of May, as the shares of the bank dived down more than 50% on the 4th of May.
The first major challenge which poses a threat to Pacific Western Bank is the sudden hike in interest rates, which is set by the Federal Reserve to combat the ongoing inflation issues in the United States. According to Forbes, it is reported that PacWest stock fell to 28% on the 2nd of May, which on the next day follows a sudden drop of 60%. The main reason for the steep fall in the stock is due to the Federal Reserve raising the interest rate to 0.25 percentage point on the 3rd of May. Higher interest rates would make the cost of borrowing to be considerably more expensive, which leads to a decrease in the borrowing rate. Higher interest rates could mean danger, as fixed income securities could drop in its market value, resulting in a potential loss for the bank. The next challenge that PacWest faces is the increasing rate of uninsured deposits a week after the plunge of the bank's stock performance in the market. According to Reuters article, the shares of PacWest continued to decline on May 11th, falling by 23%, which had caused a 9.5% or approximately $1.5 billion drop in deposits. Reports stated that more and more uncertain investors took out their deposits from PacWest Bank after questions have been raised following the failure of the 3 banks since March. A decrease in deposits could harm a bank's overall financial health, as it serves as a threat to its liquidity and lending capacity. A low deposit rate would pose a threat to the availability of liquidity in the bank, resulting in a higher exposure towards liquidity difficulties. Moving on, leadership also plays a huge role in this financial banking crisis. A poor decision planning is observed by the bank, as they were too late to make a sound decision to mitigate its exposure to the current banking crisis that happened before them. Besides poor planning, a comprehensive risk assessment should also be taken into consideration, as it remains a fundamental act of analyzing a firm's overall financial health and performance, and also its potential vulnerabilities such as rising interest rates or imbalances between its assets and liabilities. Lastly, maintaining the stakeholders' confidence will also be a sign of a good leadership, especially in banking sectors. However, in a report by CNBC, which stated that the executive chairman of PacWest, Matt Wagner, has told the media that PacWest Bancorp is exploring all strategic options, which include selling the company itself. This has raised concern and uncertainties from its clients and investors, which had led to an increase in withdrawals and selling of shares.
PacWest Bancorp faced significant
financial challenges primarily due to interest rate risk. When the Federal Reserve unexpectedly raised interest rates, it negatively affected the bank's profitability and loan demand. Customers had difficulty borrowing money due to the higher rates, resulting in reduced loan interest rate income and decreased profitability. Additionally, there was a risk of investment losses from the decline in the market value of fixed income instruments. Liquidity risk was a major concern for the PacWest Bank Group as well. The bank experienced difficulties in maintaining sufficient liquid resources due to customers withdrawing uninsured deposits. This drop in deposits jeopardized the bank's financial security. Without enough cash on hand, the bank's ability to function as a lender and maintain profitability was at risk. Credit risk was also a significant issue during the crisis. As stock prices dropped and investors withdrew their funds, credit defaults became more prominent. Investors' concerns about the bank's financial stability led to a decrease in deposit levels. Further increasing the bank's credit risk, loan defaults pose a potential threat to the bank's bottom line and long-term viability. To mitigate these unfavorable developments, PacWest Bank Group must effectively manage these financial risks. This includes optimizing liquidity management, implementing rigorous credit assessment and monitoring procedures, and closely monitoring interest rate fluctuations as part of their risk management strategy. By proactively addressing these risks, PacWest Bank Group can better withstand volatile market conditions and maintain long-term financial health.
One of the proposals made by the leaders for PacWest Bank Group is in dealing with the issue was to utilize debt to cover the existing condition or difficulty. PacWest flying debts represent one of the primary worries for investors. The debt to equity ratio has increased by over 400% in 2023 alone, as a result of the rising number of withdrawals by depositors as well as the bank declining profit trend. First and foremost, the first solution for the bank is downsizing, which downsizing is one of the most effective restructuring strategy used by the company during any financial distress. In this instance, not only can downsizing reduce the overall cost for the PacWest Bank, it can also improve the efficiency of the bank operation and right side its resources according to market demands. For example, PacWest Bank can encourage early retirement to employees that are close to retirement age. This is because there are often times where senior employees do not contribute much to the bank overall performance. The fact doesn't come off as a surprise because high age have a negative impact to an individual performance and also productivity. Other than that, the second solution is that employees with deficient attendance and low quality of works that doesn't contribute much to the bank success should be laid off as well. Due to desperate time, management should also match the current existing skill of the workforce to the skill needed. Employees with unnecessary skill and expertise that are not beneficial to the bank current needs should be laid off as well. Lastly, it is important to identify and retain employees that have talent and more potential that will align with the company long-term success or goal, as they will definitely a important an important part for the company future success.
However, even though downsizing the workforce may seem simple, it is something that should be approached by Pacific Western Bank's management team meticulously. Because without proper planning, downsizing could be a double-edged sword that could serve as a severe repercussion for the bank's long-term success. For example, simply laying off employees will result in an unpleasant working environment and corporate culture. It is common that the remaining employees would experience guilt, stress, anxiety, and low morale after a layoff, which will produce the opposite effect of the intended purpose of the downsizing for the bank. Additional consequences would be more workload to the survivors and also a loss of sense of trust and loyalty among the employees regarding the bank. Therefore, to ensure successful downsizing, the bank should implement actions such as work redesigning and extensive communications to both the survivors and the victims. For example, work redesigning is crucial because workloads among employees will naturally pile up due to vacancies. Pacific Western Bank's leadership team should reconsider the structure of the overall organization and eliminate any unnecessary tasks and focus only on the important ones. Actions such as merging different departments together, eliminating divisions, job rotations, and placing the right employees at the right job should be carried out in order to increase productivity and reduce unnecessary workloads for the employees. Lastly, extensive communication to the victims and survivors, such as offering incentives, understanding their needs, advanced layoff notice, motivation monitoring, and further training should be implemented by the leadership team as well. By doing this, working culture and environment may be able to be preserved, as both parties will be able to reach a mutual consensus and understanding regarding the situation. Furthermore, the effects of the restructuring above may not just strengthen the bank's foundation, but may also prove to be a significant step towards building back trust and confidence between the bank and its customers and shareholders. This is because the downsizing strategy carried out by the leadership team will not only lead to a better financial performance, shareholders and customers will also take notice of the bank's leadership team's decisiveness and effectiveness in dealing with the bank's current crisis. Moving on, despite what I mentioned before, enhancing customer-centric services should be further emphasized for Pacific Western Bank in order to further regain customers' trust. Pacific Western Bank should invest in services that showcases the bank's transparency, honesty, and reliability in their dealings with customers. For example, the bank should disclose all relevant and necessary information that customer needs to know about the products and services available to them, and avoid misleading marketing and messaging. In addition, further customer research and engagement is encouraged to understand important questions such as the needs of customers, how to fulfill them, customers' behavior and motivation, and etc. By doing the above, Pacific Western Bank will be able to attain customers' trust and loyalty. The liquidity risk of the bank will be solved as well, as more customers will deposit their money into the bank. Lastly, the leadership team should learn from the current crisis and prioritize on improving their decision-making and planning. For instance, the bank should form contingency plans and invest in forecasting and analyst teams, and as well as diversify their portfolio in order to battle interest rate risk. By doing so, the bank will be well prepared for future interest rate hikes and other risks.
By taking account everything that is stated, it is apparent that Pacific Western Bank has been bombarded with many challenges such as hike of interest rates, the increased rate of uninsured deposits, and also poor decision planning by the higher-ups of the bank. Nevertheless, it is foolish to think that a collapse this extensive is a matter of luck or coincidence. Pacific Western Bank should be held responsible for their own downfall. As stated above, a contingency plan should be made by Pacific Western Bank preparatory to any category or form of threat to the well-being of financials of the bank. The plan of action to avoid the type of threat stated above is to invest in forecasting and analyst teams. These teams of individuals who are experts and trained professionals should be able to forecast any threat that could bring down the bank as a whole. At the very least, it is expected that banks of any country or region should be able to withstand a hike in interest rates. It is also expected of a bank to have a diversified portfolio. Pacific Western Bank should put an end to centralizing their investments around fixed income securities like bonds, mortgages, and treasury bills. If a crisis seems to be an event that can be avoided, a restructuring strategy like downsizing would most likely help an institution to keep afloat during a crisis. Downsizing is recommended because it is one of the most effective restructuring strategies used by companies during financial distress, as it saves costs and boosts efficiency. However, it should be implemented with proper planning, otherwise the opposite of the intended effect will arise. Another solution to keep afloat during crisis is invest in services that showcases the bank's transparency, honesty, and reliability in their dealings. By focusing on building strong relationships with customers through transparency, honesty, and reliability, as well as being responsive to their needs and concerns, Pacific Western Bank will be able to attain customers' trust and loyalty. That is all. Thank you.